we're all here? Excellent. And again, thanks for coming today. The reason we're putting on this presentation is because over the years, Homegrown and other garden centers like ourselves have kind of become a hub, a center point for people trying to access and grow their own medicine. Let me just start with a disclaimer. This presentation is not medical advice. It's not meant to be so. So if you are interested for yourself or a loved one or somebody you know interested in cannabis as medicine, please consult a doctor or consult another organization that specializes in helping people gain access to cannabis as medicine. This presentation is the opinions and sources backed up by Stefan and myself. It's not endorsed by Homegrown Hydroponics Incorporated directly. It's just something that we'd like to present to you as a public service to our lovely people here. The next thing, not all doctors are familiar or willing to prescribe or recommend cannabis in medicine. Currently, the legal state states that there's no prescription given to cannabis, for cannabis, but rather a doctor gives you a note recommending, and that's your legal authority to have it. And because not all doctors are familiar with cannabis as medicine, or not all are willing to help you access it, it's important that you know that you shouldn't be afraid to seek a second opinion. It's your unalienable right to access cannabis as medicine in Canada. As of 2000, there was a major court case won that established the right for all people to use cannabis if they find that it helps them have therapy. Your doctor can't tell you what you should and should not do with your body. They simply make recommendations. They give you a prescription. They recommend that you take such and such drug or do such and such therapy, but it's always at your own volunteer. You have to volunteer to do that, and it's the same with cannabis. They can't force you to make it, and they certainly can't stop you if you find that it gives you therapy. So that's something always to understand. I can read a quote to you. Let's go back. Here we go. This is Jocelyn Elder. She's a medical doctor in the U.S., and she was the former U.S. Surgeon General. That's the highest doctor in the land in the USA. She says, "The evidence is overwhelming that marijuana can relieve certain types of pain, nausea, vomiting, and other symptoms caused by illnesses such as multiple sclerosis, cancer, and AIDS, among many others, or by the harsh drugs sometimes used to treat them, and it can do so with remarkable safety. Indeed, marijuana is less toxic than many of the drugs that physicians prescribe every day." And that was a quote from 2004. We can talk about the legal framework in Canada. In 1999, there was a court precedence that allowed for the access of cannabis to treat medical conditions. In 2000, there was a set of regulations established to allow people to access it. Basically, what these regulations stated is that people could grow at home or buy from a single source, that was Prairie Plant Systems, to buy one strain of medicine, and that was the system that we've had until last year when they changed it up. In 2012, the MMPR revoked the right for people to grow personally at home, and it established the right for companies to come in and grow regulated cannabis for profit. So it set up a commercial system that previously didn't exist. There was no legal way to sell cannabis as medicine. Recently, in 2013, just as they were trying to revoke the right for people to grow at home, there was a court injunction that stayed the right for people to grow at home because there's a constitutional challenge to, they're going to have a court case early next year to decide whether or not people should have the right to grow medicine at home under the Constitution. We have the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and they're going to test this next year. So for the year in between, the people that are already have the established right to grow will continue to be able to grow until such time that a court case may or may not revoke that right. Strictly for medicinal purposes. Love these little cartoons. Okay, and how cannabis can help. The list of conditions that cannabis can help is ever growing. There's no limit really to the number of conditions that it can help, and the list is ever growing, whether it's ADHD, chronic pain, nausea from chemotherapy, all sorts of things. For this reason, under the new regulations, in Canada, there's no longer a restriction on the type of ailments you can use cannabis for. As long as you have a medical doctor that's willing to recommend it for whatever particular ailment you're suffering from, you have the legal right to access cannabis. Here we have a quote. There's a growing trend of older Americans who are using marijuana in their retirement. That makes sense because old people are always talking about their joints. And that's Jimmy Fallon. And then we can just quickly talk about the two different legal systems that we've had in place. MMAR and MMPR. Don't worry about what those mean because nobody ever gets it right anyway. With the MMAR, people are allowed to grow at home. They're allowed to, if they were too sick to grow themselves, they could have somebody else grow for them. And it was a very affordable system. It's pretty cheap to grow some plants outside for medicine or grow them in your basement, a little bit of power, a small light, and you can have enough for your own personal needs. This system had limited ailments that you could use it for, so you had to be dying of cancer or have AIDS to really access it. Some pain conditions and other things, but you needed specific backup. As well, the access was granted directly by the Ministry of Health Canada, so you would have to send in documentation for them to fill out and grant you access. Under the new system that is currently in place, but both systems are kind of running in parallel right now, the new system allows for commercial companies to grow the cannabis. That access can be more expensive because obviously you have to pay for their profit, you have to pay for their camera systems and all the testing. Hey dear. And under this system, the access is granted by your doctor only. So it removes the middleman of Health Canada having to institute this system. There are some problems with the current legal frameworks that we're undergoing. If you have some cannabis on you, maybe you're going out and you need to bring some with you to treat yourself, it can be hard to prove that you have legal possession of that cannabis. Under the new system, you're going to have the original packaging or that doctor's note and show the police officer, and that police officer would have to believe in that documentation in order not to hassle you. And so if they weren't up to speed on how the laws are working, they could take your cannabis, they could arrest you if they weren't convinced that you had legal access. So that's a problem for people.
Alex, I have one thing for that. Yeah. I've recently heard stories about certain regions in Ontario where the police do not accept this. They will arrest you anyway, and their theory is, we're going to arrest you, let the courts work it out. If you're innocent, the courts will find you innocent. How does that help a patient? You have your documentation, you're legal, but yet you lose your medicine because the cops just don't care. We don't care. We'll arrest you anyway. The courts can work it out. That's their job. I'm a cop. That's what I do. Not me personally. Understand? That's the way the cops. That's the police are actually figuring this out. There's certain areas of Ontario that's what they believe in. So be careful.
Halton region specifically, they're very against the whole cannabis framework that has come through. Other places like BC has said, we'll be very lax with it. We're not trying to persecute people who are just trying to have life and vitality using certain plants as medicine. Some other problems we have, as Stefan just alluded to, there are people getting hassled by law enforcement. Even though they have legal access, they're still having problems with the law, which is certainly unfortunate. We'll have to find a way around this. So with that, I'd like to introduce Stefan and have him come and explain how cannabis can help, and he's also going to explain his personal journey and illuminate for you some of those wonderful benefits that he's been able to have. So,
you gonna keep working the turntable for me?
sure, yeah, no problem. We're just going to put you on the mic here.
So just quickly before I start, growing up I had back problems. I couldn't figure out what it was or why I had them. Diagnosed many different things. I just thought it was over-exercising. And then about 10 years ago, I actually had an eye problem, and I went to the doctor for it, and they said, you have a sexual disease. And I'm like, impossible. They did tests on me, and it came back that I actually had what's called ankylosing spondylitis. It is what is rheumatoid arthritis of the spine. So my spine is fusing. Every day I'd wake up in the morning in severe pain. Some days take 2 days to get out of bed. I couldn't move. I'm thinking I eat well, I exercise, I'm vital. What is going on here? That's what I was diagnosed with. From that, afterwards, I was given Percocets, Oxys. If anybody's been on that, you know what they do to you. They're terrible. You can't think, you can't breathe, you can't live a life. Can't eat. Trying to work, I couldn't work. Next they put me on Humira, Remicade. If you know what those are what's blockers. And make a long story short, they're made from rat feces. And here I am to inject it with a needle into myself every 4 weeks at a fee of $6,000 a month, which I didn't pay for, your tax dollars paid for. Okay? Think about that, $6,000 a month for a needle. But yet I can't take cannabis or I go to jail. So finally, when I started trying cannabis, my doctor at Mount Sinai wasn't for it, he was against it. But I tried all the methods, and finally he said, okay, well, let's try cannabis. Now, to move back from that, I was director of Taekwondo for Ontario for 4 years. Not to be a braggart screen, but just to give you a little bit of enlightenment. I'm one of 3 homegrown 5th Dan black belts in Canada. Now from that, even though I work hard at it, I've been doing martial arts in the early 80s. I represented Canada at the World Championships 2000. I could do all that, but yet cannabis I couldn't have or I'd lose my job. The joke today is that today I'm coming out of the closet. Okay, for years I would hide who I am, my 2 lives. Okay, the fact I take cannabis as medicine, and at the same time, up until 2 years ago, I was a head instructor of Black Belt World. As I said, I was a director for Taekwondo in Ontario. I assisted football at Tech City Championship. I helped coach high schools, universities, so forth. Right now, presently, I train professional athletes, jockeys and so forth. I have the top-ranked jockey in Canada, is my client, but yet I have to hide what I do. Okay, I can pop perks all day long, no problem with that. I can inject needles in me all day long, no problem. But yet, I drink my cannabis juice each morning, I'm a villain. Okay, I want to have a little smoke before bed, help me sleep, I'm a villain. Okay, why is that? What's wrong with society? So that's who I am. I don't want to get into that Bash Harper thing. That's something else. Okay, let's just get back on track. So you know who I am, why I do this, and from that, I was trying to find a means and method to grow my own cannabis, do it safe, do it my family is safe, so I don't get fires and so forth. Do it in my house, my basement, a small closet, so it's safe. What kind of cannabis to use? What works for me? How to go through it. It's a very long process. And of course, Homegrown Hydroponics has sort of guided me through this whole process, held my hand, took me along the past, 7 years of my life doing this. So that's where I'm going, and that's my story. Okay, so now, there's a lot of things we can do with cannabis that helps you, as it says in the chart. A lot of people have pain from arthritis, a lot of things. Some people have eyes, insomnia. Again, why is it that we have to fight for the right to have our medicine? Okay, we shouldn't have to. This should be easy for you to access. And on top of that, as I said, what works for me might not work for you. What strain works for me might not work for you. Okay, so next slide, please. Now again, you know, cannabis goes back 2,000 years of records for cannabis. That's been used as medicine, okay? Within that 2,000 years, there's not one record of terminal illness from cannabis or a death from cannabis that I know of. If there is, please send it to me, let me know. I've been doing research for a long time. I'm yet to find something since the Chinese started using it 2,000 years ago, okay? Go ahead. Produce the resinous glands. And again, it's the trichomes in the glands that you want. But again, there's a lot more use of the cannabis plant, just the trichomes. Okay, a lot of things we can do for it to pull the medicine out of it and extract the medicine that works for you. Okay? Different means and methods. Don't just think that you got to have the trichomes and you got to use the flowers and you got to have, you know, a sticky icky in order for it to work. There's a lot of different means and methods. Okay? Go ahead. You know, it's the compounds and chemicals that are within the plant that you want to try to extrapolate and use for yourself. Okay? Not just for smoking. Many different means. As I said, there's butter, there's creams, and so forth. But the whole point is, that's what we want to bring up. That's the medicine we want to use. And again, there are different types of cannabis you can use. There's sativas, there's indicas, there's hybrids. You know, for the longest time, for years, up until about a year ago, again, thanks to Homegrown, up to about a year ago, I couldn't touch indica. I couldn't touch Kush. I was strictly sativa. Anything else would just be like Percocet. I would have some cannabis, I would have some indica, I'd have some Kush. Next morning, I'm stuck to the pillow. It's counterproductive for me. So I was pure sativa. Okay, and on top of that though, I couldn't use all the good terpene profiles that are in a different array of cannabis. I was limited to one kind. Just to sort of stop, and then from that, Alex let me, I use a method now just to sort of stop that. That's called almost vegan growing. And I thought it wasn't the cannabis strains that was hurting me. It was the process, a way of growing it that was hurting me. Now that I use basically a vegan method, so no guanos, no chemicals, just pure plant extracts to grow my plant. Now I can have any cannabis strain I want. I can use it all, nothing hurts me. I can have a nice Kush. Next morning, I'm up, fine, I'm good to go. So I'm now, you know, I have a good array now. I'm getting all the medical benefits of all the plants now, not just one. So please, look at your growing method and test yourself. Again, works for me, may not work for you. Okay? What I use may not work for you. Okay? There is no tried, true method right now for medicine. You know, you have to work on it. You got to experiment. As we said, most of the medicine is in the trichome. That is the active compound that you want to extrapolate and use to actually get, okay, but combusting it's one way. That creates a psychoactive ingredient that helps you enjoy, okay? But there's also juicing, or other ways of making it. So, did I go ahead?
Yeah.
Keep going. Yeah, I'm.
Yeah, we've done that. Okay, just over the counter drugs. So.
Yes. Okay, that's when cannabis is stigmatized. Cannabis has been overblown, more dangerous than now, just back to what I was saying earlier, that how cannabis is the devil's weed, more or less, as we all hear. Okay, thanks to Reagan. But on top of that, you think about it, over-the-counter drugs are far more dangerous than cannabis. But again, here we are being, hurt, pushed into a corner with it. Again, I tell my kids, don't follow the crowd. Okay? If you're like a lamb following the rest of the lamb, what happens?
Slaughtered.
You're walking in shit all day long. Okay? Pardon me. But yeah, you're slaughtered. Exactly. Make your own mind up. Experiment. Don't follow the crowd. That's very important. Okay? It works by the body, system to discover it until how this cannabis works the body. Research. I got ahead of the slides, I'm sorry. Okay, one more. Okay. Again, the THC and the CBDs, okay? Most of the time, THC is activated by combusting it over 220 degrees. But there's a lot more array of compounds in there that help you medicinally that you don't have to combust. Again, you can eat it, you can juice it. I'm huge on juicing, we'll get to in a second. I juice each morning. So, okay, and keep going. And here we go, we'll stop there. As I said earlier, I've been on Remicade, Enbrel, Humira, Oxys, and Celebrex. Those are all safe over-the-counter drugs we can get. Yeah, I wish, my wife was back there, and she would see, I would take Remicade, and I'd cut myself shaving. I would have huge infections. You know, I wouldn't be able to go through an airport now. They'd look at me and say, whoa. Just because it really cuts down on your immune system. That's what's to make you better so your joints don't get inflamed or hurt. But at the same time, my immune system, if somebody in this room coughed, I'd get the cold. It was that bad. You know, and here I was working environment people, and I would get colds and be sick all day long. I couldn't figure it out. I work out, I eat well, I train, you know, yet I was always getting sick. And before, when I was young, I wouldn't get sick. And then it was because of the Enbrel Humira Remicade, which, as you know, for arthritis, you want to stop your white blood cells, okay? That's what creates the inflammation and so forth. That's what it would do. But again, like everything else, afterwards, oh, you're having infection, take this. This will help with that. So again, it's back to take drug A for this, take drug B to fix drug A. Oh, hang on, take drug C to fix drug B, okay? So I'd wipe all of that, got rid of it, stopped it all, and again, got the cannabis. So keep going. Now, a few things about this journey is that, A, I always recommend, one, talk to your doctor. Okay? For a lot of you, you think your doctor's your enemy. They're not. They're uneducated. Okay? So again, talk to your doctor. Start there. Again, my journey was 5 years. My doctor actually would say, okay, try the cannabis. But now, I was his first patient. Now, at Mount Sinai, he's actually looking to get involved in this, research it, and study it. Okay? I helped educate him. Okay? If I would have gone and put a wall against him as my enemy, I wouldn't get anywhere. Okay? Remember, doctors want to help you. Okay? But again, they're uneducated about this. It's brand new. Talk to them. Start there. Okay? Second, there are clinics around now. Okay? Take your record to a clinic, a legal clinic. These doctors there will assess you, and they will help you find an LP or find somebody to give you the cannabis. But again, talk to them.
The new commercial companies that are selling cannabis online and through the mail. That's basically how the new system works.
Okay, but again, be patient. That's the most important thing. Okay, it will not happen overnight. Now, the last thing you do is again go to a compassion center. That technically still is illegal, so I shouldn't recommend it to you. But there are a lot of great compassion centers here who will work with you. They'll give you strains. They'll assess you. They'll help you. Okay, some are there for the money, but some are there to help you. Okay, again, this is your journey. Go for it and take your time. Be patient. It's your health. You're not going to fix it overnight. Okay? Good. Now, how do I get medical marijuana? Okay, obvious way is smoking. Okay, that again, you combust it, you bring it in, you get that instant hit, and it carries you through. Okay? That's great. I think it's instant, and what I like about the best way is that you can monitor your dose. Okay, as you know, some days, one hit will have you feeling great. Some days it takes, 12 hits. Okay? Best part about smoking is you can monitor it to yourself, how high you want to go and so forth. Okay? Different strains, again, affect you differently. Okay, next. Okay, vaporizing, my favorite way. Okay? Yes. Who else here vaporizes? Anybody? I swear by it. Okay? Now, as you know, that basically the downside of smoking cannabis, government likes to say, is that the carcinogens that are coming into your body. Okay? I'll talk a bit later that there are some positive ones that actually help you. But vaporizing, you're eliminating 95% of those. Okay? So all it is vapor coming in. Okay? So the argument our government has about it being bad for you, that's gone. Okay? I love the vaporizing. On top of that, beyond smoking, when you vaporize, it activates many different terpene profiles that'll help you. That when you burn a cigarette in the joint, you lose half of them. Okay? So experiment. Again, those terpene profiles, that's what helps you. Okay? Vaporizing, you get majority of them. Okay? I can't remember percentage, like 95% of the terpene profiles you actually get from vaporizing, which when you smoke, it's like 40%. Do we have the stats on that or? No. Okay, we don't. Okay. So, on top of that, I'm into the flavors. Just to get off the medical aspect of it, I love the flavors of it. It's sensual. Everything about it. When you grind it up, how it smells. That's all part of the process and the journey. Okay? I just want to break it up and, I want that fuel one day. I want that skunk another day. I want the lemon another day. I want that spice sometimes from the haze.
Plant with almost every smelly compound that all the other plants make. The pine smell, the lemon smell, the jasmine flower smell that this plant creates. And each one of those terpenes has a medicinal effect on your body. They all interact, and the plant is able to create homeostasis and balance in your body. It's a very healthy plant. Vaporizing is more
Economical. That's also one of the best parts about it.
You use a lot less cannabis when you're using a vaporizer than you would in other forms of smoking. It delivers, 90% of the cannabinoids to you, where with burning, a lot of that will be lost in combustion.
Just to add that on top of it, a friend of mine who vaporizes, he keeps all this vaporized afterwards and actually cooks with it. Okay, I tried it once and almost gagged. So I don't do that, but some people do it. Okay? Veg grown, that's right. It's different. Okay, I'll try it. You got it. Good source of information over here, by the way, if anybody's looking. Okay, go ahead. Now, this is my favorite way right now. It's juicing, okay? In the morning I get up, I take the raw plant and I juice it. Now, the best part about that is you get all the active ingredients for pain and relief, but you don't get high, okay? Some of you have to go to work, you don't want to be buzzed in the morning, you got to be sharp on the ball, okay? You want to just have the pain relief, which is fantastic. You want to feel great about yourself. That varies depending on the body. So I would start a handful is what I usually do. Handful, leaf, and small bud. Fresh. That's the most important part of it, the fresh. So cut it, use it. Okay?
It doesn't last more than a couple hours.
That's right. Okay, I've kept it lying around for 2-3 hours and put it in, nothing from it. Okay? Fresh. Cut it, use it. Now for me, in the morning, I take a couple of carrots, put the cannabis in, put the carrots to the juicer. Helps to push it through. I get a lot more out of it. Then a beet and a little bit of kale. Okay, I'm telling you that if you have pain, inflammation, okay, I'm standing here today. If anybody knows people who have ankylosing spondylitis, you will see that they lie in a bed, in a wheelchair, they're on the ground, they don't do anything, they don't live life. Okay, I'm walking around, I'm trying to be a good father, I'm trying to be a good citizen of society. That's because I juice. I swear by it to this day. Okay, now the active ingredient you get from juicing, the actual U.S. government actually has that. Okay, they use it, they got to store it away, and they're waiting to actually put it to the public, okay? And there's been studies done about with cancer and so forth, which I won't talk about because I don't know it personally. Arthritis-wise, I'm telling you that if you can, juice within a week, get off everything. No more Celebrex, no more pain pills, no more Advil. Your joints go down, you can be active, okay? I've gone from not being able to walk up a flight of stairs, but feeling heavy pain, to I can jog 10K now. Okay, I still train a bit. Right? Obviously, you got to be wise in what you do. Okay, so again, go ahead. Now, again, with eating it and juicing it, there's a lot of different things. You can't, so we'll get off the actual juice, but for eating it, you're making cookies and so forth. Now, I love that as well. One of the side effects, the problem is you can't monitor your dosage, which is very important. I just know, eat half a cookie one day, won't do a thing for you. Won't take the pain away, you won't feel it. Okay, so eat 2 or 3, feels good. Next day, eat half a cookie, and you can't function, okay? That's my downside to eating. I love eating, but again, I always say to people, when you have some baked goods, start slow. For a cookie, have a quarter, have a half, then finish off. Don't just pop the whole thing.
It takes a long time too, so leave at least an hour between your next dose. Yeah. It could be
That's right.
5 minutes, it could be 2 hours depending on your metabolism.
That's right.
Don't go half an hour, didn't do anything, you eat 2 more cookies and then, you might see space in it.
Well, I sort of talked about this already, but as you can see, there's a lot of things, and antioxidants and anti-inflammatory chemicals. A lot of people who have been on Crohn's have had great success juicing, surprisingly, which I'm trying to figure out now because Crohn's really does affect you.
Juice is the most anti-inflammatory
That's correct.
product, so that's what Crohn's is inflammation. And you might want to point out that there's no legal access.
But to get that, one of the big downsides about fresh cannabis is that technically it's illegal. Okay, no LPs or anybody will supply that to you because as you know under the new law, it's dried cannabis only. Okay? Yeah, exactly. What's the difference? Most people who want to use it don't use dry cannabis. They juice, they eat, and so forth. Extracts, butter, they make salves and creams. But yet legally, all you can do is a dry cannabis. Okay? So that's one of the downsides of it. Now again, also, there's the balms and the creams that I spoke about, which are fantastic, but again, are illegal. Okay, so try them, but again, I'm not recommending something to you that's going to be illegal. I really can't. Okay? Yes, we're working on that. There's now court precedents. What's going on with that?
In BC, earlier this year, there was court precedents that allowed for the use of cannabis in its other forms. The court said that if you have the legal right to use cannabis to treat your ailments, they can't limit what kind of cannabis and how you can deliver that to your body. And that's really important because a lot of people, for cancer for instance, they want to flood their system with as much cannabinoids as possible. So they'll take a little capsule of concentrated cannabis oil. The little trichomes on the outside of the plant, the crystalline part, you can melt those off with solvents or CO2. Get rid of the solvent, and you're just left with that pure medicinal product. And you can take that internally, and that'll distribute through your body. And the product has actually been shown to be able to turn certain types of cancers off, so that those cancers will self-destruct. But obviously you need a lot of quality and concentrated cannabinoids. Usually the easiest way to get it is an oral gel capsule.
Again, this is something we talked about earlier, different strains. I can recommend anything to you. Play, test around, try different strains. That's very important. Not just indica versus sativa versus a hybrid. The family within indica is so diverse. Again, works for me may not work for you, and vice versa. Different strains, they react differently. What you're looking for. For me, I will do sativas early in the day. Well, go to the next before I move on again. So again, indicas. I find indicas are better later in the day. Okay, evening and so forth. Yet I have a good friend who will take indicas all day. Sativas don't even work for him. He's pure indica. Okay? But for me, if I do indicas in the morning, let's just say I'm not as productive as the day goes on. Okay? And different strains that have been out there that are pretty popular now for the indica. I'm a Northern Lights man. I love 90s stuff. The old stuff I love. I just find it's got better flavor. I find it's cleaner. Everybody's different. Okay? Now, as you probably tell, I love my sativas. I love my tropical stuff. I love the sativas. A few downsides, it gives you more energy. It's very party. It's up. It's great. It's electric. It's what it is. And on top of that, I find the immune system of sativas, I find it's far better. Okay, less colds. You feel better about yourself. Just more energy, more vital, which is very important. Okay, daytime weed is sort of the trend with it. Okay, but again, we're all different. Everyone's different. Okay, these are some popular strains of sativa, and as you know, I'm a haze man. Love my haze. Okay.
Can you describe some of the aroma that you get?
Of course. Now, with Durban, I find it's kind of sweet. Very nice sweet. There's a very trendy strain out now called Girl Scout cookies. Okay, that sweet taste you get from that comes from the Durban. Okay, haze. I love the spicy haze. It's very spicy, almost like nutmeg or walking into an incense shop. Okay, and I love that. Now the AK varies. Okay, the AK I like is actually skunky. Okay, we were talking about that earlier. It's almost like arrest me, officer. Hello, officer. You double bag it. No matter what you put into it, you're going to have that sour smell. Okay. Now, Blue Dream. I love the menthol of the Blue Dream. Okay, almost like a pack of gum. I love that. It's lemony. It's citrusy. It's fantastic. Okay. Now, again, one of my favorites still is Skunk Number 1. I know that it's done now because it's washed away, but I love Skunk Number 1. I think it's the ultimate strain. It's got a little bit of everything for you. It's easy to grow. It's got a great buzz, and medicinally, it really works well. For a real, true skunk one, it's not like the skunk you see today on markets. That's sort of washed away. You can try to find yourself some seeds of old skunk one, and I guarantee you, you will love it. Okay, White Widow for obvious reasons. We're moving on to hybrids, and we have the Kushes as well, which are fantastic. And I like that burnt fuel smell of the Kush. Okay, something about that. It's just, as I said earlier, it's just so sensual. It's just lovely, you know. Now, a couple of the CBD strains, which are really trendy now, because they don't get you too high. Okay, but take pain away. Very good for the pain, very good for inflammation. And the best part about it, though, is that you can have that in the morning, have a little smoke, you can function at work. Okay, for some of you have to be, you know, whatever, doctors, lawyers, whatever, accountants, you gotta have your wits about you. Okay, some strains you get it, and you're not the sharpest pencil in the box sometimes after that. Okay, that's one of the downsides. But there are strains that still allow you to have that mental capacity and function well. Okay, Cannatonic. I love Cannatonic for that. That's one of the few strains that really give you a great mellowing effect. It calms you down, okay? But this stays sharp, which is important, okay? Now, on top of that, any questions for Alex and myself before we go on? Any comments? Yes, let's start here.
Yeah.
So your name is?
You can only deal with the dried version of the weed. How compromised is that if you're going to make a butter, like percentage-wise?
Yes. Question is, because we're stuck using the dry product, how compromised is it for making butter and so forth? For actually making butter, the actual dry product is better.
Oh.
Yes. Okay. You want to eliminate most of the water stuff when you're making the butter and so forth.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to have it as dry as possible. Okay, that's what we found out. There is a study going on now. People have been trying to make it actually when it's wet. Okay, I find the problem when it's wet, way too much green matter. Okay, so you just taste the green.
Now, sorry, quickly, what about oil? Would it be better to use, if you're going to do that oil, can you do it on the dried stuff?
So all cannabinoids do have a shelf life. They'll oxidize over time. So you want to get them, you know, usually before about the 2-year mark, they're going to start to lose a lot of the potency. The cannabinoids will start to transfer into other different forms of chemicals. But they do have a long shelf life. If you cure and dry your dried flowers properly, they'll last 2 years in that form. The oils that, you know, they're usually processed from dry material. You get a good yield from that, and that's a stable product as well. And oils, again, you want to be able to use those usually within about a 2-year period, just to make sure that it's still active and good for you.
And different strains have different life shelf times. You know, I don't know if you've known that, but you know, sometimes some strains you can have for 2 years and they're lovely. Some after 6 months, you just don't give you that giddy up anymore. So again, it's all different. Okay.
The first one, in regards to juicing again.
Yes.
You're saying it's fresh leaves, so
that's correct.
I'm assuming you have to have a lot of plants to be able to have juice every day.
Yes. To make it simple, a lot, not a lot. I have a 15 plant script limit, and that's more than enough for me. You know, if you're efficient, it's more than enough. Again, as I was saying, I don't lollipop the trend, which means cut lower half of your plant off, just flower top. I don't believe that much in it, so for me, I take a little cuts off the bottom of my plant as I need it. Okay, a few of the little buds. Okay, and also some leaf. Okay, that's what I use. And again, a handful is all you need to make juice. That'll give you about an ounce of juice. And mixed in with some carrot and beet, that's all you need. Okay, anything beyond that, diminishing returns. Okay.
And the other question, really quick, some of the strains that you mentioned, you know where to get these? Come and ask.
No idea. No idea.
Any other questions? No?
So another question, comments, concerns, anything else we can help you with? So we're all good?
Thanks for paying attention to our presentation. It was a real joy to present to you today. We'll be having a draw shortly, and then we'll be continuing on with the seminar schedule.